So welcome. I'm super excited to share with all of you today. One of my favorite techniques. It's really great for making it look like you worked harder than you actually did. No shame in working really hard, but for me, especially when I'm doing color melts and vivid colors, sometimes I can get a little bored. Nothing wrong with being bored, but I want to up my game a lot. So I'm going to be showing you guys the pinwheel technique, and it's a really easy technique, but the overall visual end result looks really advanced. And if you guys saw on the Instagram, I cannot find that mannequin that I sent photos of. Life of an Educator, I just cannot find it, but I have one similar that I did the technique. And what I love about this is the technique is adaptable. So you can do the whole thing or you can do just panels. And so on my girlfriend right here, I did this technique, but I just did panels. So if you look at her, what I love about this technique is that it takes something and makes these colors that really shouldn't live together or looking contrasting. It takes these colors and helps them live right next to each other without worry. As you can see, I've got some yellow, I've got some lavender, I've got some blue, I've got some orange. So definitely do go together, and then some of them normally we wouldn't want to melt. So on her, I did not do the full pinwheel technique. I just took two sections, or three, sorry, I took three. They're right on top, I did triangles. So I did wide at the base, and then the point down here, just either side, and then here in the back. So you can see if we lift her up, I don't remember which color this is. This is part of our Aqua Bay collection. But really all I did was take that triangle and I was able to still utilize the pinwheel technique with this. So I'm gonna show you the spinning and break down how to do the whole head, and then we can talk about how to do panels. Because again, the sectioning is what makes the whole head unique, but the panels, it's a technique that you can take and do on one panel, two panels, the whole head. It really doesn't matter. So you ready to see it broken down? All right. So my lovely model here, you can see she's sectioned out. And really the way I think of it, we're just taking pies. We're taking slices of the pies. So I've used the crown or as her, it's not actually not the apex, it's lower on the crown. I used that as my middle point. And then basically I just went around the whole head. So I on those little pie sections. And again, what I love about this is you could go bigger or you can go smaller. So this is a really nice technique that you can adjust depending how are we there? Are we done? All right, Donovan says, yes, we're good. And I'm just going to trust him. So, all right, so what we're doing is we're looking at these sections. Again, what I love about this technique is it's so adjustable depending on your guest's needs and your creativity for the day. So if we're looking at her, we're going to show. So we take this section right here. We're not actually going to paint the whole section the same way. So we're going to utilize the same colors. And then depending on her and her density, so how much hair we're working with, we're going to take a diagonal section and split it in half. So we're not actually taking the whole subsections in this section. So I would clip this and everything down here, I'm going to do a melt. So I'll start with A, color B, color C. Let's say we're doing a very simple melt with just 3 colors. So we'll go A, B, C. And when we get to the top, we'll do B, C, A. So we're working within the same colors, but the order in which we apply them to each section is going to vary. And that's, I can go broke and use 5, and it's going to play really well because that section. So when I come here, we're going to again do diagonal. And again, here in the bottom section, we would go C, A, B. So, and really what you're doing is you're taking each subsection, splitting it in half, and then rotating the in which you apply your colors and melt them together. So I'm gonna demo on my not my because she is already done, as you can see, and she actually a technique you can see. If I bring her through, we've actually got 3 colors going on here. So her base, I kept the same. So again, that's an option we can do. I could keep her base all the same, that it's cohesive through the head, and all that changes is see, and we adjust it depending on the hair. And this tends to be a little bit more I don't want to say more friendly because depending on the colors you use, it could be quite advanced, but this seems to be a little bit bigger and more cohesive. And then when you go in and you start using a bunch more colors, you can make it really, really beautiful. So I'm actually going to show you guys on some wefts how you can do just a basic color melt using this technique all the way to using 5 colors. So again, with her, this is what it is. This is the sectioning. The way I remember it is pies. So we're taking that pie and eyes, and then we're sectioning it in half. Now, if she had really dense hair, she had a lot of it, you could even do 3 sections. So you could do 1, 2, and then I would take it the opposite way and do 3. So you would have section 1, 2, and section 3 down here. And again, all we're doing is taking those colors that we've chosen for our palette, and then we're rotating them. So we're rotating based on how sections, and you rotate your colors. What was the last color I did? Are they going to melt well together? All of that. You will notice that on the mannequin that we have the pictures. So I'm going to show you on one of those how to do that. Are you guys ready to hop on down? Hop on down, hop on in. All right, so I have up 5 colors. One of the other reasons I love using negative space instead of clear, you can also use clear, but just have that negative space where those colors don't melt. I really love because you're able to place colors that don't normally go together. For instance, I could do mermaid teal, which is green based, with my flamencan fuchsia, which is red based because it's fuchsia. And those 2 colors, because they're green and red based, they wouldn't do the most vivid melt. It would brown out, like we know. So when I leave the negative space, I'm able to still have those colors on the same strand without worrying about them neutralizing one another. So on the very first swatch, I'm going to bring it over. Oh, is that good? Can you guys see? All right, I show you, this is going to be our simple swatch. We're going to do just 3 colors, and we're going to use negative space instead of melting them together. So I'm going to do flamencan fuchsia, stonewashed denim, and dusty teal. So I really love these 3 colors. Flamencan fuchsia, I will say I diluted it with clear, so it's going to be a bit softer. Flamencan fuchsia on its own is a bit, not a bit, it is a dark fuchsia. Poppy pink. And then we've got, I did poke it out a drop of black. Even though made teal is kind of already smoky, it can be a little intense, and I like a smoky color. I like a smoky mezcal margarita. I like a smoky color. So what about you guys? Is it more vivids and bright? Do you like pastels? Do you like smokes? Or like me, does it just mood and the guest? And then I'm going to come in again. I've got stonewashed denim. I also have black in there to smoke out the color as well. So with most color lines, you know, I'm using Matrix Socolor Colt, but with most color lines, black is going to be the color that you use to kind of smoke out and deepen all of your tones. Clear is what we use to dilute saturation, make them a little bit lighter and brighter. Also, one thing to keep in mind is Socolor Colt. Some of our colors out in olive green. This happens with the dusties. So like dusty blue, dusty teal, dusty violet. These come out olive green, but once you mix them, they oxidize and start to become their true color. So it's not the most attractive in the bowl, but if you've never used it before or you've never used those colors, don't freak out on the color you want, trust me. All right, so up here, then this one we're using negative space. So up here, I want to come in, and I like to work on a diagonal. Diagonal is my favorite if I'm cutting, if I'm styling, if I'm doing highlights, if I'm doing a balayage. Because a diagonal works with the round of the head, it creates harsh lines. So I don't have to worry as much about blend. Still worry about the blend, but not as much. So actually, a diagonal. Open that up since we're working on a weft and it does not color like normal hair. And then I'm going to flip my brush to resaturate. I'm going to wipe my hands off because I'm handsy. So I really should put on gloves. And then I'm going to lift it up. Make sure everything underneath got what I needed, and it did. So we're going to lift up, come in, make sure that's really saturated. Again, still following that diagonal. Spread out a little bit. And moves. All right, so now we're going to come in. I'm going to come in with my Franken fuchsia and clear. And I'm actually going to come opposite. So I'm going to move these pieces that got a little wild. They've got that teal all the way down. And I'm going to make a triangle. So I'm making a triangle with the negative space, and I'm coming in the opposite direction as I came in with the first one. So I'm actually going to move my diagonal. And again, I'm going to come in, really make sure I'm saturating and pushing through. Making sure we're spreading that out to get. And because we went in and we started to diffuse that line, that section of negative space got smaller. And that's what we want. You know, we could go in and do even bigger. It's all up to us. That's one of the things I love about working with creative colors and creative techniques. There's really no rules. So you know, you could even mush those two together and create more neutral melt if that's what you were going for. That would be a bit more avant-garde, high fashion, in my opinion, but not diagonal. Create this way, and now we're coming in here. I'm just taking my brush, coming in, almost touching, but not quite. And then I'm going to come in, and this is where you're going to see it start to turn the color it actually is. It's like wine. The air has to hit it before it turns good. There you go. You're starting to see. Clearly, I need a vacation. I've talked about a mezcal margarita and wine twice now. I need a vacation from this year. How about you guys? Anybody else? All right, so now I'm going to come in again with that pink down here. Again, we're just going on a diagonal. The name of the pinwheel technique is diagonal. So if you've looked at a pinwheel, you've seen how it has like that triangle point, and then it turns it over so that it actually changes. And you don't have to worry about any of that. So again, it would be as if we took this and folded it, and so you would see it would change and adjust as we went. And again, everything is on a diagonal. That's going to give us that soft diffusion that we're looking for. And then on those very, very ends, I don't think you guys can even see the ends I'm working on. I'm still going to do it. We're going to come in opposite. And again, so this is more to make sure that you've got those sections. You could put clear there and kind of mush them in a little bit better. I'm going to come in with my little tiny detail brush and just soften up again that line of demarcation. We want it nice and soft. Okay. So that is the first one. And now we're going to come in a little bit more colors. And we're actually going to switch the palette slightly. So we're not going to use flamenco fuchsia. We are going to use Lucky Duck Yellow, which is one of my. And then we're also going to use Disco Silver. It can be used as a toner. I actually added black to it. Again, I'm adding black to a lot of my colors. I'm noticing as I'm talking to you guys. So we're going to come in with our Disco Silver. Again, is a very, very soft, light silver. I've added a little bit for depth, less to smoke it out, more to offer depth. And so we're working with kind of all blue-based colors, and violet and yellow. So again, those shouldn't really live together. So we're going to start with again and come in on that diagonal. I'm just taking it and diffusing, softening it up. Really pushing that color through. Make sure we're okay. All right, we're good. We're good. And then now I'm going to come in with that Lucky Duck Yellow. This is where that negative space is really going to help us. But yellow and dusty teal or mermaid teal can actually be mixed together because, you know, they have some yellow in them. And again, coming in. I want to get close, but not right up in there with my brush. So again, I'm going to come in with my little detail brush. This is probably my favorite thing ever. And come in and just, you know, soften that line up. So what's going to happen is we're going to have bright, bold, pocket soft, you know, impact, but then also these soft of impact. The color isn't as intense. So think of it kind of, you know, an ombre, but not an ombre, if that makes sense. Really bold color that kind of softens this intense version. I want to come up underneath, especially with yellow, and make sure that's blended in there. Nice and low. And now we're going to come in with our disco silver. So this one is, remember, it's a violet base. And I added some black to it to smooth out. So this one is those colors that only these two would neutralize. We need to stay away from it. This is where the negative space is really going, because we don't want these two to mute each other out. So we're coming in, making sure it's separated. And again, just diffusing that line of demarcation, actually having those two colors touch. And I'm going to do Lucky Duck Yellow again. Or no, I lied. We already did that. We are doing Stonewashed Denim. Stonewashed Denim with a drop of black again to just soften that up. And again, I'm coming in opposite but still diagonal. So I'm creating these little triangles. So here we've got the wide base and point, point, wide base. So we come in, we diffuse, we soften. And these colors go well together, so we don't have to worry about them softening or neutralizing each other too much. I always keep vivids. I'm sure you all do as well. I'm very handsy. I like to touch my color, especially when I'm with semi-permanent and even toners. Use when I'm using blood. So again, I'm going to come in and just hit those tips. Make sure this is nice and saturated. Okay. So now we've done the one that's pretty simple. Just work. This one we did 4 colors, a little bit more advanced. And this third one over here, this is the more advanced technique. And what I love about this one is you can actually break it. The more intricate, that is the word I've been searching for that would not make sense in my head. The more intricate you use this technique, the easier it is. So this one I love to do. Sorry. I'm I good on this one, Donovan? Okay. So this one we're actually going to take, and I need to steal one of her clips for my model. We're going to take this one. I'm going to come over to the side here. And we're actually going to do a weave. So we're going to make this a little bit more intricate and introduce a top weave, bottom weave. So this is how I got that blend on that mannequin. So we've got a top weave and a bottom weave. So if you remember on her, this is how we got those colors to kind of just softly fall. And you can't really see where one gets. Okay, so someone said suggest dark red. Look in my chat, sorry. So for this, it really depends on what semi-permanent line you use, but most semi-permanents now are made to rinse without having to worry about them washing into each other. So we can do that though. Let's do a dark base on this, and then when you rinse, my suggestion is work with one that kind of needs to not melt into each other. So Socolor Coat, I don't have to worry about the hair touching. I don't rinse one section out. I would say if you're working with a very dark base, I've seen a lot of people using semi-permanent black or dark gray in silver. I would definitely put the base first and then let darkness run off, because again, all of this depends on the porosity of the hair we're applying to. And then from there, I would say no semi-permanent line. So Color Coat is great to do the whole head and not worry about the colors touch. I just lay them right on top of each other. I don't use mesh or film or anything like that. But I would say still be careful. So make sure you know what your line does do. Sometimes some tell you like, oh, if you're working with darker colors, you definitely take some care. But I would say just rinse first, get that hose right up on the scalp, and then rinse the lighter pieces after that. But a dark base I love. So we're gonna come in. We don't really have, but we'll come in with the. So again, I've done weave, bottom, weave. So on the bottom weave, we've sectioned that top off. We're gonna come in and start with mermaid teal. Now you'll notice I did not come in on a diagonal. This one is gonna be a more intricate melt. So let me bring it over a little bit more. So this one, I'm not doing a diagonal. We're really going out. We're not going to have any negative space in this. So I started with mermaid teal. And then I'm going to come in and right on top, I'm going to make sure it's right on top with, this is my dusty stonewashed denim, sorry. So again, these colors work together. They have a similar base. I added black, a drop of black to both of these to smoke them out. So we're going to come in, make sure it's really saturated. And now I'm going to come in with my yellow. Again, these colors, we're going to create a teal mid-tone. So I don't want to go too crazy. I don't want to get my yellow brush dirty. But I do know that yellow is going to work with this tone. And again, I'm handsy, so I'm just going to come in with my, there was like a fancier word for what I'm doing, but it's mushing, smush. I'm making sure that I'm using fingers. So now, and if I think of all my colors, I've got two colors left. I've got, which is violet base. Does not work with yellow to melt in unless the goal is to have a neutral point. It's not. So now I'm going to come in with fuchsia and create a little bit of a coral where the yellow meet, but also the pink and the violet from silver are going to be able to live next to each other. So I come in, we can already see some of that coral start to, again, use my finger for that. Get my handy dandy towel. And then I'm going to come in with the disco silver, because now disco silver is violet based. And even though I added a drop of black to it, it's going to be able to next to the pink. So I'm going to come in there. Violet and pink work, so this is a good melt. And with these ends, and again, it's up to you and your guest. I like to bring it all back around, so we're going to use, we used mermaid teal as the base. We're going to use mermaid teal there on those ends. And just marry it all. So when I rinse this out, depending on how long I sit, I will say one of the things I love about Socolor Cult and a lot of other lines is that they almost dry out a little bit. And I know that sounds weird. Normally we don't want stuff drying out. Not like gets crusty dried out, but it doesn't stay as saturated. It doesn't stay wet, it's saturated. It doesn't stay wet, so as it processes on the guest's hair, it really does get absorbed into the hair. So that's a really nice bonus, because we don't have to worry like, what's it gonna do? Is it gonna touch and transfer to other hair that we want to transfer onto? As you can see here, like it's starting to get, bring it up. It's starting to get the little white. That's the leftover conditioner that, you know, there's enough there. So we know that the hair has absorbed everything it needs to do. And when I go rinse this, I didn't have to worry about, is it transferred? Is it going to touch? Again, so now, again, we're going to come over. I lied. I am actually going to use Volley for this one. So I'm going to take my film. And I'm just going to lay it right top. So that's nice there, nice and rich and beautiful. And then I'm going to leave the top weave down. Again, I love about this is depending on how artistic we're feeling, really either do like a big macro weave or a micro weave. The micro weave is going to keep it really, really soft, and I think blurry. It's not really blurry, but that's what I think about how it is. That's the word that comes to mind. Or if you did more of a macro weave, so really, really big chunks, for lack of a better word, you would get just this really bold placement that kind of flows next to each other. So we're going to come in. I'm going to move my stuff over, and I'm going to attempt to be left mermaid teal, because that's at our base. So this is where we would like keep the base cohesive. Come right up in there. really, really saturate. Get nice and saturated. And we can do, maybe if we don't want to use our fingers, I've got a chipped brush, so it's got those low points, and I'm able to come in, hold the hair taut, and kind of not, using this to diffuse my line of demarcation. So I'm going to come down with that, use it to diffuse that line so that we're not going to have these harsh lines that I have to work hard to blend. All right, so I think last time we did yellow. We're going to switch that up. Let's come in with Disco Silver. So this is Disco Silver and black again. This one has a green base. This one has a violet blue base because I added that black, and in Socolor Cult, black is blue based. So I'm going to come in. I'm still going to stay a little bit away and then start to drag it up. Make sure it's nice and saturated. And then again, come in with my brush and start to soften that line of demarcation, and then come up here and melt those two together. And then if you only have one brush, make sure you're wiping off in between so that we don't keep transferring and dragging that color down. All right, so now we're going to come in. Let's do our Stonewash Denim. We're going to come in again, make sure it's nice and overlapped, nice and saturated. And then take my lovely chipped brush and come in, just soften that up. And then soften this line up too. So now we're going to come in with our yellow. It's going to create kind of a teal point when they meet. And I don't know if you guys can see, but the one I'm using for my yellow is also a chipped brush. Drag that down. Come in here. And then now I'm coming in with my Flamencan Fuchsia and clear, again, to give us a little bit brighter of that color. I'm just going to go right on top and drag. Use all five. I came in and the bottom. So the bottom weave, we used all five. The top weave, I'm using just 4. And you could even do this. You could even do this where you go through the whole head and do top weave, bottom weave. And the bottom weave could be one solid color, and the top weave can be where you do your melt. So again, the 3 different versions. So this one is the easiest, simplest, because we're just working within 3 colors. We're leaving negative space so that it's soft. This one we added in more colors and we brought them closer together so there's less negative space. And this one I would say, so you've got your main section and then your subsection, and then you're doing a top weave and bottom weave on those subsections. So I'm going to move this out of the way, and show you guys break down how we would do this third one on my girl that's got her lovely sectioning going. So again, that's what I love about this technique is it's not super hard. The technique itself, it's whatever you want to make of it. What's your time, what's your guest budget? That's always important. But the sectioning keeps it really, really grounded and simple, not basic, simple. So it's simplified, it's not overly hard, but it makes it look like you did a lot more work, even if you just do 3 colors. All right, so let's take this front section. So we're going to do this section right here. So we're going to come in, and again, we would section her out. This is her main section, and we're going to subsection her. So we're going to do it 3 sections. So, and again, it's all on a diagonal, it's all triangles. If you think about a pinwheel, we're going to subsection this out. So if we're down here at the bottom, we're going to come in and we would take this section, and it's pretty nice and see-through. I don't know if you guys, it's not a thick section. It's not overly thick. It gets thicker towards her hairline. She's a people, we wouldn't have that. Most people, their hairline isn't super thick. So we would come in, and again, micro going to be really, really soft, a very, very soft effect. Macro is going to give us a bolder impact. So it's up to you and whatever you like. I like to, when I like to come up close to the base. It gives me a better part, and I don't have to worry about those hairs getting in the way. So again, bottom weave, top weave. We're going to clip that top weave out of the way. Bottom weave down here. What's great about this section, when we come in to do this bottom weave, I've only weaved 3 colors through her. So I've got her base, which was Blooming Orchid. And then I've got the mid, which was, what was it? It was Blooming Orchid, Flamencan Fuchsia, and then Lavender. So down on the, so all we did was 3 colors. So we did the base, the mid, ends, and then this top weave. Again, still keep that dark base, or you can adjust it, and then you're going to adjust how those colors come in. So again, the options technique are really limitless. It's up to you and your guest. Again, we can keep this bottom weave one cohesive color. So it could be our base shade all blended, but it's grounded. So I don't know where I came up with this, but in my head, it makes sense to have like a grounding color. Base shade is my grounding color. And no matter how many melts I do, how many colors I use, whatever shade is, that grows the whole together for me. This bottom weave could be her whole base shade, just pulled all the way down. And then the top weave is going to be where we really go in. We could do like 5 colors on her strand, 2, 3, whatever we choose. Done. And then when we would take the next section, same thing, come in, weave. Top weave. So this would be, it's the base shade, and it could go on, and then this top weave could be where we go in and do the melt. Again, 5 colors depending on the hair. Bring that down, and then this piece. And this is why I'm going to do a top weave and bottom. Yes, I love that. This technique is phenomenal on hair. I don't know if you've worked on curly hair. When I first started working on it, I would do a ton of work and then I would lose it because I was taking saturated and I wasn't accounting for that curl, and you know, things get lost in there. So this is great because we're just repeating ourselves over and over. And then again, we're going to come in, top weave, bottom weave. Here is what's important about top weave, bottom weave. Because we've done 3 subsections, whatever we do needs to be cohesive. So if we come in, the bottom weave is going to be that base, darker base shade, and then maybe one other color, or just all the way up. Top weave, we do that because this is what's on top of the head. This is veil and fall over. Again, is her. So if we look at her, we can see she's got a lot of color going on. If you just look at her with her hair down, it looks like we went in and a ton of intricate making. Not. What we did do was we kept that base shade. So you can see here, everything underneath is that base shade, and all we did on top was that triangle. You can see everything up here, that's one triangle. You can section that out. All we did was take from her part, and I did a triangle and then still went in diagonal. So again, I took that diagonal section, and you can see here, I did that melt, that top weave, bottom weave. And then I went through again, did that melt and did top weave, bottom weave. So you can see it looks like I did a ton more work. This is ideal for a client who wears their hair down a lot, or maybe, you know, wants to have a waist. So she looks bold when it's all down, looks like we did a ton of work. And then we have that base color all underneath. So when she puts her hair up, it's less bold. So she still has some, everything's on a diagonal, but it's less bold. So this gives them a lot of options. Again, the technique itself is really, really adjustable and adaptable to what you and your guest are looking for. So that is all I have for you guys. I know I'm a little bit early. You've got about 10 minutes left. I'm looking at the chat. I don't see any questions. So with that, I guess I'll let you guys go. We don't have any questions. Thank you so, so much for spending your time with me. I hope this technique helps. Again, what I love about it is super adaptable and adjustable based on you and your guest. And it makes, oh yes, I love that. The stencil design, that would be phenomenal. Again, those diagonals are helping us, making it look like we worked a lot harder than we did. So thank you so much. Have a great day. I had a fantastic time with you. I'm glad this was enjoyable for you. And I hope to see you guys again. Have a great day. Bye. Oh. Before I see that, I saw someone say suggestions for rinsing out. Sorry. It depends on the semi-permanent you use. I would say definitely cold water. I like the hair to just lay in it, and I just go for it. I don't worry too much. The one thing I don't do is I don't kind of mush the hair together. I don't massage the head. I just rinse and rinse until the water runs clear. Once it runs clear, I like to use we have a laminate spray called Keep Me Vivid. You spray it on that hair and it locks down the cuticle to help seal the color. So whether or not you use that or something similar, I would say rinse till the water runs clear. That's my #1 tip for getting semi-permanent colors out. All right, have a great day and I'll see you later. Bye.